The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.
Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with hosts MJ, H-Train, and Terri. Each week we put today's news into perspective. Join us on Facebook, X, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, or anywhere you get your podcast. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
And we're back.
Woo! Hey, yo.
Excited.
Yeah,
How are you, H?
You know what? We have so many things that have been going on. Everybody's been so busy. You know, we went from Satan's playground to, oh my gosh, I have a window in the studio, to now we were moved back in Satan's playground. It's still high as heck, but that's okay. But you know what? We are here. We're live. We haven't been doing this show for the last couple of weeks. Just a lot of busy things going on. Yeah. But that's all right. We're here.
We are.
And we're gonna have some fun. And boy, there's some crazy things happening in the news today. But you know, other than just the political stuff, I got some news and some predictions when it comes to the NFL football thing, because there's been a lot of speculation on was it a catch or was it an interception? So, you know, we're gonna go over that a little bit today too as well. But how was your like week off?
It was good. It was good. And the day off today was good. I am not complaining at all. Pretty awesome.
Oh man. All right. So
what is your predictions for the Super Bowl? Because, you know, I haven't even kept up with who's winning over whom and what division is ahead of what division and wins and losses. I'm not even up to speed.
Well, yesterday would be considered the division, and you know, the Rams. Yeah, that was a really, really good game. The Rams against Houston, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
And Rams won, and then New England went against. Gosh, I forget who New England went against. No, New England went against Houston. I don't know. Yeah. Denver won, but Denver found out that as they're going through, they're not taking their quarterback. You know, because their quarterback somehow broke his ankle. It doesn't matter if it was during the game or after a game or even before the game. Doesn't matter. He broke it. So now we have to settle for the backup, Jeff Stidham, or something like Jeff Steady. That's what we're going to call him, Jeff Steady, okay? And, you know, I would be worried, but that's this thing. Denver Broncos, the one thing that they have learned very well the last 5 or 6 years is how to run an offense without a quarterback. Because our defense has always kind of saved us, you know. When we went to Super Bowl 50, that's how we won, was because of our defense. There's no shy about it, you know. The Super Bowl 50 team, I don't even think it scored a touchdown. I mean, every defensive touchdown that we had was because of the defense, fumbles, stuff like that. So, you know, I have a prediction. I just don't know if it's right or not. But I would seriously say that I do think for in the Super Bowl, I really do think that it's going to be Denver against Seattle, and that scares me because you know what? I remember the last ass whooping. I don't want another ass whooping, you know. And I don't know if Stevie I don't know if Steady can get a steady in there, you know? So I have no idea. There's a lot of controversy with the Broncos and the Bills game. With the catch, is it a catch or is it not a catch? You know, and I think the NFL referees have been so inconsistent that it doesn't matter what calls they're doing anymore. Like people's always going to question it because they get it wrong a lot. And you know, one of the reasons why I think they get it wrong a lot is slow motion and picture review. Is it really helping us?
Well, I mean, I think it does. It kind of tells you whether it was a catch or it wasn't a catch.
But yeah, but like the slow motion now we start seeing ourselves dissect it differently than when it's in like fast motion.
True. That is true.
So that's what I mean by, is it really helping us? You know, I mean, gosh, I thought people were mad about politics. Like there were a lot of Buffalo Bills like crying, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm thrilled that we won, but hey, I'm sorry, Bills. You know, go ahead and cry, but it don't matter because we still won. But I tell you, one thing I know that my coach used to ingrain into me, and I think it's still, I think it's still like that today. Is no matter what you do, if you rely on the referees for you to win a game, then you don't deserve winning it in the first place.
Well, that's true. You should win the game by your skill and your, you know, your strategy for the game. That should be paramount. It
If
shouldn't be a
you're
referee.
right, but if you're a good team, you will find a way to get it back. If you're a really good team, you'll find a way to fix the situation. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you should be able to dig deep and find some extra umph to get you over that goal line or whatever it takes. Yes, you should be able to, you know, to find that extra bandwidth to make it happen. If you're a team that's resourceful and you're a team that's all in, you should be able to find that without trying to get a call just to go your way so you win. I agree with that. That's true. But you know, we're all human,
That's true.
and referees make bad calls
Boy,
often, you know, and then sometimes they'll walk it back based on what the replay shows. But you know, the call's the call in some cases, and you just got to live with it, good, bad, or otherwise. And you know, hopefully the calls kind of equal out over time. Like, you know, there may be calls for Denver, then there may be calls for the other team. Who knows? You know, and then hopefully those kind of don't go one way or the other too often. They kind of, you know, would be a 50-50. And so even if it's wrong one way or the other, then hopefully the next call will even it back out.
right?
Yeah, I mean, one would hope, but I mean, it doesn't always go that way. I know that in reality.
So did you get a chance to watch the football like I did, or?
No, I didn't watch any football. No, I was actually podcasting and whatnot.
Oh,
I was podcasting and adding new music. Did you know we have a 24/7 radio channel? Did you know that?
I do.
And do you know it rocks? It really rocks. And do you know we have listeners from around the world?
Yeah, yeah.
From Finland and Germany and Russia. Who would think that we would have international listeners? But we do. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time wondering, like, who is listening in Russia and what are they listening to? Are we divulging some kind of special code or something that they're tapping into? Like, are they hoping to catch that? I'm trying to figure it out.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing that I thought was so fun when I first started in this radio thing. It started as like a little 30-second or 30-minute podcast. And you know, one thing that I remember us doing is we recorded it. You know, we didn't have no mission. I don't even know what we were talking about. It was bullshit. That's what we was talking about. Hello, Christy. Thank you for tuning in. And when I heard our voice on GI Radio Network, that's the first network, like I was instantly in love with it. I'm like, wow, that's really cool that, you know, I'm on the tune in. And I
Yeah.
thought about it and I'm like, you know what? And instead of me investing most of my time and effort on, creating events, trying to get warriors out of the house and stuff like that, you know, I know that I'm going to reach them more if I reach out to them.
Yeah.
So I created a radio show, and that was our whole mission, is to research all these nonprofits. Brandy was my first researcher. Brandy Jones, she was excellent. We would go through and we would find out, if they made less than $85,000 in admin costs. And if they did do that, then we had them on. And it was amazing because not only did I find out more about nonprofits, but instead of me just being an interview person or a nosy person, trying to get information, like I'm creating relationships with these other nonprofits, and we're creating like a portal that if a veteran comes to us, we've been around long enough now, Trace, that we can help any veteran by just pointing to them or introducing them in an email to another nonprofit program,
Exactly.
We've helped 5 veterans this month because of Signature for Soldiers.
Wow.
5 veterans. We just
That's
helped
amazing.
a single female mother veteran. Just last week, we Signature for Soldiers paid and got her like deposit, so that because she was having a really hard time. We got her taken care of, and ever since Tim has been kind of partnering with us and stuff, they're making shit happen. So if you're a veteran or you're a first responder and you're just running into some shit, you need help, you need guidance, reach out to us. We'll give you the guidance, we'll give you the help. We'll hold your hand. We'll get you help. So, but other than that, what is happening in your neck of the woods news wise?
Jeepers. It's always crazy. So I don't even know how to go down that rabbit hole, honestly. But piggybacking on what you said about broadcasting and podcasting and networking. I was asked recently a question. Somebody asked me, like, why podcasting? Why is that the outlet you chose, or why are you doing that as your service back to the veteran community? Why that? And I said, well, honestly, why not? I said, because we're actually connecting dots with different organizations and we can plug people in, just like you talked about. We're connecting with the VA, we're connecting with the American Legion, with the VFWs, we're connecting with all these different agencies because a lot of us are members of those organizations and can plug other people into resources that they offer. Or we offer like spotlight to other nonprofit veteran and first responder organizations that can help them get funding or can help direct people to those platforms to get the help they need. So it's like, this particular venue is such a great opportunity to connect people and to put them into things that they need, and then also to spotlight people that are doing that good work and getting them the resourcing or at least the visibility that they need to do their work. And it's also giving authors that are veterans and artists that are veterans an opportunity to spotlight and showcase their talents so that others can see them and appreciate what they're doing or help them on their journey. So what better way to give back, and what better way to engage with the veteran community or the first responder community than this platform that gives us that opportunity? Because without this platform, we may not be able to help as many people or plug in people to different resources because we don't know what they are. So I think this platform really gives us that opportunity.
You know, and I agree, because it was brought to my attention, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, the Richard Starr Act. The Richard Starr Act is a big piece of legislation that I'm really surprised, which I shouldn't be surprised because I just recently learned about what it is, what it controls, why is there an issue, why hasn't it been passed, all this crap that's going on, and we'll talk about it coming up in the next segment. But all this crap that's coming up, and they still haven't passed this piece of legislation that they've worked on for, I guess, 7-8 years. Wow. And it still hasn't been taken. But tonight, or not tonight, but hopefully Sunday or in the very near future, we're going to have Michael. He's a person that's in charge of the passtheact.org. We're going to have him on our show, I believe Friday, and I'm trying to get him on Mark's show. I'm trying to get him on everybody's show because more and more people are learning about the Richard Starr Act because we're bringing it up. You know, this is something that needs to be brought up. This is something that needs to have been done a long time ago. But see, the problem is that if people don't know about it, they can't reach out to their congressman and senator and say, hey, you know, this shit needs to pass, you know?
Right. It needs to keep in front of people so that it doesn't get, forgotten and just put to the side and then, never sent to finish what they started, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in case somebody doesn't know what it is, can you just kind of refresh the memory about what it is and why it's so important to engage our senators, our congressmen, anybody we can talk to that can make a difference in whether this gets passed or not?
So I give you the gist of it. I am gonna put it in ChatGPT so that we get a very definite thing. But basically, Barney style wise, the Richard Starr Act means that if you get injured in combat, and if you get injured in combat and you're like over 20 years, you're good. You get your retirement. This is for people that their combat cycle was deteriorated and they were forced to medical or retire out before that 20 years. You get taxed on what we call CRSC. It's combat related combat spacious pay. I'm sure I wrecked that too. But anyways, you get what I mean. So once we get that, they tax it. The Richard Starr Act is to eliminate that tax, and you're probably thinking, well, hey, it's just tax. Why are you so worried? With certain military people, they are only able to make so much money through the year. It doesn't matter if they're like really, really, really bad or not. They're only allowed to make so much money. And if they're only allowed to make so much money and they can't live with that because of not only COLA, but, disability. I call it disability decisions. Disability decisions to where, like, for instance, I have an AFO, so it's very hard for me to get up and get off the floor to be able to like do an oil change in my car. But with my double vision, hell, I couldn't even see the goddamn nut. So, it's just things like that. It's just added stuff that, you think you're like, you're getting this great money, but it's not exactly. It's a lot easier doing a job rather than waiting or expecting somebody else to do it, even if you're paying them. And I think sometimes people, they forget that.
Yeah,
they forget that. But go ahead and what I'm going to do here, explain Richard Starr Act. I'm going to ask ChatGPT so that I can. I pretty much explained it, but I just wanted to make it factual. Richard Starr Act is proposed federal law designed to fix a long-standing problem that hurts disabled combat veterans. Right now, many medically retired service members who were medically retired before 20 years and have a combat-related disability do not receive both their full military retirement pay and VA disability compensation. Instead, their retirement pay is reduced, offset by the amount of VA disability that they receive. In simple terms, they've earned both, but they're only getting one in full. Now, for people that are just like tuning in or didn't even know about this, is when you get out of the military, they give you a severance. And when they give you that severance, don't go out and buy a Camaro, because that severance is supposed to last you until you get the money or the paperwork started through the VA. But here's the kicker. Once you get that thing from VA, let's say that you're getting $1,000 a month. I don't know what percentage that is, but let's just say you're going to get $1,000 a month. Guess what? You still have to pay DOD back. You can't do both of them. You can't double dip. So until you pay DOD back, so you get $1,000, you have to give them $500. It's kind of like a half thing. I don't know if that's exactly the percentage, but I'm just kind of getting layman terms for math wise. Yeah. But just remember, you can't double dip. Once you leave DOD, VA pays for it, but you're not going to get that full pension check until you pay it back.
Right. Yeah. And with some that have to retire early, their pension may not be very big anyway. And so, having to offset one for the other, can really leave a service member without a really necessary monthly amount to just sustain what they have.
Right.
Because if you're a reservist like me, when I retired, it's all about your points. It's about how many points you had and how many years you had. And then that is what drives what I get paid. It's not years of service alone. It's the number of points. And so if it's somebody, like me, the amount that you get probably isn't that big, and so having to offset one for the other really makes it challenging for somebody to really just live a normal life and be comfortable enough to make sure you've got your food on the table, your bills paid, and, can enjoy a little bit of life too.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's time for us to go on break, huh?
Well, we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go on break. And then when we come back, what is the subject matter that you would like to talk about today, Trace?
Well, I think we're going to talk about Greenland.
Okay. All right.
It's kind of
runs into my as the White House turns.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we could probably do that, and then we could probably discuss it, because I think it's one of those hot buttons that we've got going on right now. So let's pray for our planet with Blue Mountain Tribe.
Oh my God. Pray, because we are so screwed.
Here we go.
The land is sacred. These words are at the core of your being. The land is our mother. The rivers our blood. Take our land away and we die. That is, the Indian in us dies. Mary Bravebird, Lakota.
We're both off planet. Something's going wrong. Pray for our planet. Something's going wrong. Coal mines, compromise, the dripping the skin. The killing of the nature is a terrible sin. Pray for our planet. Something's going wrong. Plagues and disease, violence everywhere. They're killing Mother Nature and nobody cares. Anger and hatred, all they want to do is fight. I'm praying to the Father in this sacred side. It's gonna be alright. Get some tobacco, grab your safe. Paint your pony, paint your face, raise your feather at a sacred place. Mother Earth is dying, it's a damn disgrace. Plagues and disease, violence everywhere. They're killing Mother Nature and nobody cares. Anger and hatred, all they want to do is fight. I'm praying to the Father on this sacred side. It's gonna be alright. Joy and peace back in our lives. No more destruction of our sacred sites. Let's pray together and tell the world no more hatred and no more lies. Your skin color, race, religion, other people's opinion will not divide us. Will not divide us.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
And we're back. Hey, if you liked Blue Mountain Tribe, you can go to bluemountaintribe.com and hear more. They do have a new song out called Blues Boy Blues. So you have to check it out. It's pretty cool. They got a new music video to go along with it. So we'll have to start adding it to the platform as well.
Hey, and also Scotty Frazier, he has a new song that came out as well. And of course, I don't have it on the top of my tongue, but we have that going on the server, and he has some amazing music. So, I don't know about y'all, but I have like a Spotify and an iTunes account. So when I go on those different platforms, I'm able to listen to that music, regardless, and they get counted for those streams. So, if you have an account or you know how to play his music, go on Spotify or iTunes and just hit his, give him a listen, once a day or something. That's all they want, once a day. And I tell you what, when you memorize the words, that's when you've played it too much. But other than that, hell, I even got some songs out.
I know, and they're pretty darn awesome. We should have played those. We should have loaded those up and played those tonight. I mean, they could be top 40 hits.
I have to make some kind of video for that.
No, it doesn't have to have video.
I don't know, but hey, it's that time. It's that time. You want to talk about Greenland because it does kind of play into as the White House turns, and I'll go ahead and play it, and then we can get right into it.
Let's do it.
Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store has confirmed that he has received Donald Trump's deranged message that we reported last night. Today, on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we have woken up to a world in chaos due to one man, Donald Trump. And so, for those who have not seen this yet, Trump sent this message to Norway's Prime Minister, saying that because he did not win the Nobel Peace Prize, he no longer feels an obligation to think of peace and instead will invade Greenland. He wrote this and had it forwarded to various heads of state. He wrote, quote, "Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but now can think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China, and why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT." I know that seems like parody, but it is real and it is dangerous. Norway's Prime Minister confirmed the message and said that it came quickly after he and other countries urged Trump to de-escalate the situation. He also basically said that Trump's message makes no sense because the Nobel Peace Prize is given by an independent committee in Norway, not the Norwegian government. And there's more. Donald Trump is now trying to grift nations out of billions of dollars to join his so-called Board of Peace, which looks to be essentially his way of creating a new entity to destroy the G7 or NATO or the United Nations. Trump has invited Russian President Vladimir Putin and Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko to be part of this board, which would oversee Gaza and other matters. Once again, not satire. This is essentially Trump creating his own axis of evil. We're going to continue to report on this and more. There's a lot developing right now. Make sure you're following, spread the word, and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more.
All right, I was done watching. Everything was good until at the end. Sometimes people just need to know when it's time to just shut up. Okay, kind of evil. What I took from it was, honestly, I hate the word impeach. You know what we need? We need a fight room. All right, we need to be able to, hey, you know what, President, this person, they're knocking at the White House. They want to schedule a boxing match with us. We need a boxing match with the president so that we could get out. We can vent. We can get this out because I'm telling you, he right now he needs to be knocked off his high horse with all the stuff that he's currently doing right now.
So MJ's in the house, even though she's not officially on the show like she normally is, but she's
Right.
traveling, so she's her internet is in and out. So we've understood that for her, but she is saying you should try looking up facts. Not sure why we are listening to TikTok.
I use TikTok all the time when I do these things.
Well, I mean, in some cases, it's somebody's opinion. I mean, it seemed like he had a document in the background that
And
was
like I
very
said, and
official.
that's the reason why I ended it at the end, because you could, that little bit at the piece, you could totally tell that it was his opinion. The factual part is he's building his. It's called a peace board. It's a peace board, and they said that today on NBC News that he's creating a peace board, and it's looking like he's trying to replace kind of like NATO and stuff, with the whole Greenland thing. It's sad that it's been 80 some years. There's countries that have never laid a foot on Greenland, and this week they have. It's really sad. I'm not liking the way the direction is going, and yeah, when I don't know how I don't know if I should say it on air or not, but sometimes I just feel like when we vote for somebody, that people will sit there and they will defend their vote. They won't be like me and say, you know what? I guess I was wrong. I regret voting for this because some of the stuff is not what I voted for. So I find a lot of people defending the actions, and I don't like invading Greenland or even talking about it. Everybody says that it could be a chess match. Either way, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I mean, we hear hold on, here's MJ.
Okay.
Interpretation, we all need to flip. Greenland, 4 other presidents tried to buy it. That's what I was just getting ready to get into. Just like MJ said. So I looked into, what has our stance been with Greenland? Is this a new thing that we've just all of a sudden become aware of? No, it's not. Actually, we've tried to buy or acquire Greenland at least 5 times since 1867.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't like new news. So in 1867, we tried to buy it. In 1910. And then in 1941 through 45, we actually occupied it during World War II to keep the Nazis from coming over and invading Greenland.
Right.
And then in 1946, we tried, 1951, 2019, and now 2025. So this isn't like new news. This isn't something that just springing up all of a sudden.
Right. And again, we're talking about buying it. We're not talking about invading it.
Right. We were talking about annexing. We were talking about buying. We were just talking about doing some things. And so I kind of researched why it's important. And because it's got its strategic location makes it of interest, I guess, to several countries, to include the U.S. And one is its location. 2 is its the Arctic routes. Now that the ice is thinning, there's more shipping lanes open, and it's a quicker route to Asia and to Europe by way of Greenland. And then also the natural resources that they have. There's also lithium and things that make computer parts. So that makes it very interesting as well. So it's not that Greenland is wanting to be annexed or bought or any of that, and
Right.
Denmark certainly isn't wanting that to happen either. So I don't know if this is just posturing on the part of the US, maybe to kinda get Greenland or maybe Denmark into thinking there might be a reason why the US needs to be present and help in defending Greenland? Because it sounds to me like that's really what it's about, is defending Greenland, not taking over Greenland. Because they have a lot of resources that a lot of other countries would be certainly interested in. Now this whole idea of creating a new NATO or a new G7 or a new whatever you wanna call it, I don't know about that, but, that sounds to me also like posturing. Because, if you know Trump and you know his business dealings, you know he's a businessman at heart and he's always looking about the deal. It's the art of the deal, it's always about a deal. So, a lot of times what he does is posture to get the deal he's looking for. So, is that what this is, or is it something else? I don't know. I don't know the answer
I
to
mean, I can always ask Chat GPT to, get the full thing. It's just, um, all the time. It doesn't matter if it's TikTok, doesn't matter if Facebook, it's just clips. It's stuff that we discuss about. It's stuff that is
Right.
out there, sometimes people, they don't want to go to whitehouse.org. Sometimes they don't want to go to the library archives because, like me and Mark discussed yesterday, unfortunately, some people are just kind of lazy. They don't want to do their research. They want to watch these clips and stuff. And then after they hear these clips, then it kind of invites them to, at least watch the news.
It's like this. So it looks good on the surface, but then is it really? Because then you see what's behind it. So that's kind of what this show is supposed to be about, is perspective. So we're supposed to bring what they're saying on the TikTok, what they're saying on Facebook or X or whatever platform, is something looks one way when you just see it on its face value, but then if you look behind the curtain, you might find something different. So
Right.
it's about perspective, I think, and that's really, why we want to do this show, is because we're not trying to be political. We're not trying to say one person's right or one person's wrong. We're just saying there might be another perspective that no one's thought of yet or no one's seen. And so, really and truthfully, because the apple can look wonderful when you're looking at it on face value, and then you turn it around and it's got this big bruise or somebody ate it. It's like,
I think I'm pretty good at really staying in the middle. I think that I'm pretty good about staying in the middle, just saying, how I think or how I feel.
yeah.
When I see this side doing the same thing, it's just swaps, and we'll let this play out. I know that they're having a conference in the Netherlands or in Greenland. I forget where the conference is, but they're having the conference coming up. Trump's supposed to go, and I'm praying that everybody can cool down,
Yes.
and we can work in harmony. Hey, maybe it is a chess piece. Maybe he's trying to get everybody all worked up and say, hey, look, see why we're all worked up? See, if we all just came together, it'd be good times, He might pull off something. I don't know. But right now, just like me and many Americans, we're scared.
Confused and scared about what's going to happen, because I don't think any of us really wants us to go over and invade another country, because it'd be like Russia and Ukraine. Russia decided they wanted Ukraine, and so they've been at it for how long now? Like too long.
Right.
So it's like, we don't want that. No one really
And,
wants
and the
that.
way that I look at it is like I could call my senator, I could call my congressman and let them know, but I don't think it's going to do a bit of good. I mean, I wrote them an email. I'm like, hey, look, I'm scared about this. If you're asking me, my vote to you would be, look, let's this isn't Christ-like, peace first, let's try to work something out, because sometimes I don't feel that our leaders have our best interests in us, and I felt that I need to make that public. So I sent an email Is anything gonna happen? Probably not, but at least I can clear my conscience. Sometimes that's the best that you can do.
Right, and I agree with that. I mean, and I think sometimes our government does forget about the people and they're focused on something else. And so, I'm not bashing any of our leaders, whatever party they're from, but I do think that there are times when they forget about the common man that's actually paying the salaries, because we pay the salaries of all those people, and so when they did the whole shutdown and they did the other thing, they weren't thinking about us. That's obvious. They weren't thinking about the ones that are paying their salaries, the ones that are being affected by all of this. They're really not considering our needs in that whole situation. They're just not.
True that, true that. But if I offended anybody during this time, I don't mean to offend. I get on here and I kind of speak my mind. Sometimes it's probably not the right thing to do, but I get on here and I speak my mind because I don't really have a filter. And sometimes I'm wrong, and when I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. I've admitted I'm wrong several times, and sometimes it takes other people to kind of like break it down Barney style for me, kind of because sometimes I don't comprehend everything correct, and I think a lot of people are like like that. But when it comes to politics and it comes to things that I hear on the news,
Yeah.
it's starting to be things that I hear on the news. It's like, am I in a movie? Did he really just write, hey, because I'm not getting the Nobel Peace Prize, then I no longer am going to be an advocate for peace. Basically, it's like, really, dude. Once again, things you should not say. I got TBI. What's your excuse? I mean, seriously, and you're the president.
Well, he's got writers, so either he's not letting them help or they're not doing him any favors. I don't know which
That's
it
the
is.
truth. That's
You know,
the truth.
I don't know which it is because I know that they have speech writers and they have people that review all the correspondence and
I'm
do
like, what the hell,
everything,
dude?
vet everything and filter everything. And so unless he's saying, "Hey, I don't need you to do that because I'm good," I don't know. I don't know where he stands on that.
And I would try to take it out of I would say, well, you're probably taking it out of context, but it's kind of hard to take it out of context when it's written down on blue and white paper
True.
or
You
black
know,
and white paper.
I actually interviewed a speechwriter for President Bush, the not senior, but George W. Anyway, he said that he knew when the president didn't like what he had to write because he had a Sharpie that he marked up the paper and said nope, 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 and made you rewrite it. So I don't know what Trump's way of letting you know that he doesn't like what you've written. I don't know if he has a Sharpie too, and he will, Sharpie your paper like a teacher. And when you don't get the right question, when you don't answer the questions the right way, I don't know what it is, but it would be interesting to interview one of the writers for the Oval Office and see, what his version of "Nope, I don't like that" is.
That reminds me of that little scene in Wayne's World where they're getting ready to go on that show, and he takes all the cue cards and he's like, "Hey, can I make some little changes?" "Yeah, sure." And then he just starts writing them down.
It's like, yeah, I don't like these. Let me just do some edits.
But no, I pray something. I pray something that can be done, because sometimes, and I've learned this in life, and hopefully other people will learn in life, but sometimes a friendship is worth more than the money can ever be. And when you lose out on money and then you lose on friendship, your world can really change. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes we forget the people in our lives, how much they do for us, how much they are there for us. how much they are there to remind us stuff that we already know. But guess what? It's always nice to be reminded. It's always nice to be reminded, you know?
Well, sometimes we lose perspective. We get so caught up in something and we lose the perspective of, could it be worse, or things like that. We're thinking the sky is falling, and then they're reminding us, look what you do have. Look what is, your day to day. Look at this, and then you're like, oh, you're right. This isn't as bad as I thought it was. But with politics and whatnot, it's not worth losing friends over, that's for sure. I mean, what you should do, or what you can do as a collective, is no matter who you pray to, is pray that our leaderships makes good decisions. Because that's what we want for the people of the US and the people of Greenland and the other countries that are impacted and affected by what we do or say. All we can do is pray to whoever we pray to and say, hey, we really just need our government and the people that are making decisions to make really good decisions for all of us. And so that's how we can support our government, whether we value what they're doing or not, or whether we agree with what they're doing or not. We can pray that they make good decisions and that they are doing the right things for the people of the US and Greenland and all the others impacted, for sure.
Agreed. What was I going to say?
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No, I'd rather you talk anyways. I was trying to think what I was going to say, but I will say that coming up next, Josh McKay's I keep saying FSA. I keep forgetting the whole name.
Full Speed Ahead.
Full Speed Ahead. Fantastic show. Check him out. He has a good friend of ours, Mark. He's going to be on there, I believe, tonight. And one thing that Mark does is he goes to different cemeteries, and it doesn't have to be the Veteran National. He goes to different cemeteries. This guy does this out of his pocket. He doesn't force people to donate or anything like that, but he goes to these different places and he plays taps for the families, for their veterans that pass away, that die. Yeah, he's a nonprofit. It's called the Honor Tour. He's going to be on after this show, so make sure that you tune in and text. And just remember that just because somebody doesn't say, "Hey, don't worry about it," doesn't mean that you can't, buy them a coffee or give them a couple bucks. Because remember, if your cup is already filled, there's the person next to you. I'm sure they're running empty.
But if your cup's full and you keep filling it, it spills over to other people.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's very true.
So that's like the generosity. The champagne fountain where it just keeps filling and then it spills down into all the other cups. It kind of works that way too. So if you feel like filling other people's cups, keep pouring into your own and it'll spill over to those around you. So just remember that when you're filling your cup, just overfill it sometimes, because you're going to give somebody else something that they're needing.
Awesome. So Maverick's sending me a message. He's bragging.
What's he bragging about?
Yeah, he said, "Hey man, we received the 2026 Global Recognition Award for Patriot Radio and the show. Congratulations!"
Well, congratulations to Patriot Radio and Maverick. We're proud of you.
Yeah,
we're darn proud of you. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good for him. Love that.
I joke. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. Well, we love to see people succeed. If people leave our platform and they go on to do other things, this is the springboard that has started a lot of careers, and we're proud of that. Mm-hmm. We definitely can't be mad at that or jealous of that. We are very proud of that, because we're hopeful that that's what happens, is that people find their niche and find their way to be, and if they get there and they're succeeding, that is bringing us joy.
Yeah, I just make jokes because it seems like political shows get way more views than we do.
And that's okay. We're all right with that.
That's okay. I'm just being a sore loser. That's what I'm being. All right.
No,
well,
we're real proud of Maverick. We're really happy for him, for sure.
Before we head out, one last thing. If you haven't do it, help sponsor a veteran. It's $25. Go to the website, buy a Die Tired shirt. This is a limited edition. We definitely probably won't make any more shirts after this batch. So make sure that you get yours today. $25. All proceeds go to giving veterans a voice. So make sure that you go to that website and you order yours today. Tracer, do you have anything before we head out of here?
Yeah, next week we're going to wear the Die Tired shirts so that way you can see them and know how cool they are because, we got it like that. We're cool like that. We're going to wear those Die Tired shirts because you know what? They support Die Tired, the band, who has such great messaging in their lyrics and everything else. They work in the mental health space and they're really making a difference in what they do and in the first responder and military communities. And we're doing the same, because the money that we are able to get from the fundraiser, we are putting right back into our programming to help veterans. So either way, it's a win-win.
Yes, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. Oh, here, I'll go ahead and hit our little rejoiners thing. I can't even hear it. Oh, there we go. It's like Stranger Things or some shit. Anyways. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Beyond the Headlines right here on the station. Let's let our veterans' voices be heard. MBR. MJ, she wasn't with us today, but hopefully she'll be with us next week. So see you guys next Monday, same time, same bat channel. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Signing off.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25 and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.